Now, if you haven't seen the video I put out recently looking at the mob lexicon weak aura, then you wouldn't know that I've already alluded to this video. So if you've been waiting for it, then good, I'm glad you're back. If you haven't and you didn't know because you didn't see the last video, maybe you're not subscribed, in which case you should probably just press subscribe now. Helps out. Hit like as well before we get any further. Why not? But we looked at the mob lexicon weak aura, which is what you can see down the bottom right, where as I highlight over an enemy, it shows me what their abilities are, and when I press control, it expands it and tells us everything that those abilities actually do, so a detailed description of them. So today's video is similar in the fact that it is a weak aura, so if you don't know where to get weak auras, you don't know how weak auras work, so I've got a weak auras guide, which is this video here, and then I've also got the video that I've done a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday, where I was looking at the lexicon, and at the start of the video I actually spoke about where you download it, and at the end of the video I spoke about how you import it. So rather than duplicating that work, you know, you can just go and watch either of those videos. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Now, the weak aura we're actually talking about today is this one here, Thames Tier 7 pack. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it's only been out for about a week, and it's only got 4,316 installs, which for a weak aura that's this good, it really is this good and makes some boss fights so much easier, especially from a tank perspective, but even from a DPS perspective, it will absolutely make your life a lot easier. It's a criminally low number of downloads. Let me show you what it does. So when you just look at it like this, it looks like a big old mess, but it's because it's got absolutely everything you need to know about in Tier 7. So you could say, well, weak auras is better, or, you know, weak auras does everything that this does. You'll be surprised at how clean some of these things are, such as when you're tanking Vesuvius. So this would be whether you're doing it as a priest or you're doing it as, well, anyone really, in 10-man. Now you can see that I'm doing that. I'm tanking this in 10-man. Now I hadn't actually moved things around at the moment, so you can see that there's things overlapping and that, but that's purely because this was the first boss that I was actually using this weak aura on, and you'll see when we look at some other bosses where it's all moved around. But you can see clearly in the screen the big countdown with a bar that's going around above my head for how long my bone barrier's up for. So if you're not familiar with tanking this boss, you literally want to have bone armor up the entire time that you've got the mob taunted and he's attacking you. Now, I can also see up above the countdown bar that says tanking, which is how long taunt is on the mob from the other person that's tanking. So I'll know it's time for me to have bone barrier up and taunt myself. I also can see when mine's going to go down, so now bone barrier's gone off, the other DK has then taunted, I've dismissed, and we've swapped round. So that's just one boss. I mean, it's really nice, but there's a couple of other things that I just absolutely love about this on specific bosses. I'm not going to go through every boss and how it sort of interacts and what it warns you of, because ultimately you'll just import it and you'll find things that you like about it anyway. But there was two other bosses in particular that I want to touch on, and one of them is mainly if you're a tank. So on Grobulus, as a tank, you have to move it when it puts a poison pool, like a cloud, down on the floor, which you can see it's going to warn me about on DBM, sort of on the right-hand side of my weak auras, but it actually makes an audible noise, and you can see it says drag boss every time that it's ready to be moved, basically. So you'll see poison cloud on DBM, which absolutely is fine. You can just go by that, and then when it goes off, you move the boss. Or you can go by this weak aura, which is really, really accurate. And as I say, it makes an audible noise. So as a tank, you know you need to move. But the same would apply as if you was a DPS. You'd get an audible noise and a notification, you know, a little weak aura pop-up if you've got the disease on you that needs to be dispelled, for example. It's just really, really nice. I mean, that one thing, you know, you could set your own weak aura up telling you when to move or make that audible noise. But, you know, when you're sort of paying attention to what everyone else is doing, especially when you're doing an Undying run, you know, I'm looking to make sure people who've got the disease are getting out and getting dispelled and getting back in. So it's nice just to have that prompt where it just goes ding and you're like, right, I need to drag the boss backwards. Minor, but really useful. I'm going to throw this one in as a little bit of a bonus, and it's mainly for the healers. So if you look just below my details, you can see a 10-second countdown, 9-second, 8-second. This is the buff. So this is the necrotic aura where nobody can be healed. So it actually tells you just before, you know, that you can now heal. It pops up and says healing possible. But it's a nice visual countdown. You could make that a little bit bigger if you need to. And then obviously it glows and it really gets your attention when you can actually heal. Now, don't get me wrong. Really, you should start by sort of pre-casting heals so they go off as soon as the aura comes down. but it's again a very, very nice indication of when you can and when you can't heal. That was just a little extra one that I thought I'd throw in, but my favourite one is absolutely Malagos. And you're probably thinking, what could possibly be good about Malagos? There's practically nothing going on. All right, we know we need to know when there's a spark, and you can see it's notified to kill the spark. It tells you when the breath's coming in. It tells you when you're about to explode, like now, so I know that I'm just about to explode. These mechanics, fairly pointless, doesn't really matter, but still nice to have a visual notification of exactly what's going on. The big one for this is when you're actually on the Drake. Look how clean at the top of my screen it looks. You can clearly see how much energy you've got, how many combo points you've got, how many stacks of engulf you've actually got up on the boss as well. It's just very, very clean. You also get a notification if you're the one being targeted by the actual ability where you need to use your shield. And it's really good because like you can see here, it says surge on you. And it actually starts telling you that you need to be ready to use your number 5 ability, so your shield, before it even starts casting. You know, it's doing the sort of charge up, and it's already telling you in the middle of your screen you need to use it, and then shows you if you're actually protected when you have got it on. Now, again, it might seem minor, but it's just nice sort of raid tool assistance, if you like. You know, on all of these bosses, on every single boss, not just the ones that I've spoke about, you'll find something in this week or a pack that you'll really like, so I'd really recommend getting it. And that's the video. I'm going to put a link to it in the description below anyway. As I say, getting CurseForge, watching one of my week aura guides if you're not really quite sure how you do any of this stuff, definitely recommended. Be sure to hit subscribe. Don't go without hitting subscribe, and obviously like the video as well. They're right next to each other. You might as well. Check out Rested XP in the pinned comment and the link in the description somewhere. So you'll find it somewhere. And roll the outro. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes. Everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos because you get a nice icon next to your name. And you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.